Let's keep it going, chat. We're not stopping. At least not yet. I gotta know. We'll get back to road to the show soon, but I have to know. Please, God, let this be our year. And again, one more look just in terms of like, hey, what do we need for this season? Same thing. We could use some depth at catcher. First base is okay for the moment with 5. I won't emphasize first base over catcher. Second base with Gutierrez leaving. I mean, we do have some younger guys in the system, so we can consider that secondary depth. Third base, we need to start focusing on third baseman a little bit. Shortstop, we're good. And honestly, we'll be moving a lot of these guys over soon, I'm sure. You got Tim Coe in lefts. Honestly, we're just going to start taking that generalized scouting approach to everything at this point. I think that's all we can do. All right, let's fix the lineup for AAA. We are 2-0 to start this season. And actually, let's go over to that lineup. Gaucho, Reyna are on the bench. We want Uribe playing first. Lowry playing third would be ideal. But outside of Uribe playing first, there's really not much to worry about, which is good. So we have the 24th and the 36th picks, which are great. Let's just start doing generalized scouting for basically every position. And we'll follow that up with as much pitching as we can. So we will go catcher west, catcher central, catcher east. That is the game plan there. We had a phenomenal regular season last year. One of the best teams in baseball. Can we do it again? Can we do it again? Is the question. Dusty, that it is. Again, no Vince Messer. I didn't even see where Vince landed. We should probably take a look at that. Still a free agent, Vince Messer. I mean, if one of those two are that dreadful, I might consider it. But for now, it's a no. First base East, first base International, second base West. Not off to an insane start in this season. The Cubs are doing quite well. We'll do second base Central, second base East, and International. Someone just suffered an injury. And it's catcher Maurice Burnett, who fractured his shin. He'll be out for a bit. That does mean Hitoki Sato will get the chance as the starter. And so far this season, he has been tremendous. As has Martin Lopez. Honestly, Fodor hasn't been that bad either. Okay. All right, so second base is done. Let's move over to third. We got West, Central, and East. What 3 teams get relegated in the Premier League? I gotta be honest, I've tried not to think about that because I didn't want to jinx Everton because I was hoping they would get relegated. And then they won like 5-1 or some nonsense. Fucking hate it here. Yeah, Forest is pretty much guaranteed, which is a shame. Shout out to the lone team that doesn't have a fucking ad on the front of their kit, let alone a fucking gambling ad. All right, let's see. I don't think I missed anybody, right? Or any positions. Shortstop East, shortstop International, left field West. Right now, we are under 500 by 3 games. which was not the plan. Not the plan at all. Southampton's probably going down too. I don't. Leeds. I don't think Leicester will get relegated. At least I hope they don't. All right, hold on. Whoops. Center field west. Center field central. Center field east. Okay. 6 games under 500. We got to look at the roster. Adlean's also slightly roughed up. Okay. So at catcher, Sato's been a good enough backup. Burnett got hurt. We can't blame him for anything there. First base, Fodor and Lopez have been great. They have been. They've been very, very good. Oh my God, Ricky. I have never seen a player fall off so quickly. After 12 years, he was a 97 once upon a time. After 12 years and nearly 1,900 games as a Pirate, he at least can't be the starter. What are we at budget-wise right now? I mean, he's easily our most expensive deal. We got some other people. I mean, we don't have the craziest contracts. We have $19 million. As we can afford to keep him, but Jesus Christ. Should we is the question. Michael Leone's going to get the chance as the starter. It's just, do we want $26 million of Rick Gutierrez still on this team? Casey Roberson. Regression system's god-awful. No, not everyone regresses that fast, no. It's just sometimes players fall off a cliff. Again, we had a second baseman, Andy Holland, who won the Rookie of the Year, and within 3 years, he was out of the majors. And that is baseball. He retired. Andy Holland's not even in the league anymore. And he wouldn't be over the age of 30, I'm pretty sure. So sometimes people just don't pan out long term. We are in big trouble at third base. Neither Dale nor Roberson are really doing well enough. Max age was at 24, but the box wasn't checked, so it wasn't sorting by that. Fuck. Joe Dale. Move Gutierrez back to third. Chris, what's up, buddy? Good morning to you. I'm doing good. How are you? We have Hinojosa and McCann. We are going to try to move Joe Dale to AAA. And we're going to bump Thomas Gaucho back up to be a depth option. I think we will play McCann at shortstop and Hinojosa at third. Tim Coe hitting 245. That's okay. It's all right. Hey, fair enough. I hear you on that. Sometimes it's like, well, hey, it could be worse is the best you can state, right? All right. We are going to move Hinojosa to third. Wow, it actually has Fodor playing third right now. I don't like that, even though we can. Honestly, well, I don't like that for the sake of the defense, but is Gaucho that much better? No. Well, congratulations, Fodor. You're going to be playing third. Rick Gutierrez is out for Michael Leone. So we found our built-in replacement already with Fodor, Who'd have thought? And then, yeah, Gutierrez is going to be out for Michael Leone. Pitching-wise, how ruthless do I want to be here? We still have a chance to make the playoffs. Oh, my fuck. How ruthless do we want to be here? We still have a chance to make the playoffs if we choose to be aggressive. I think we have to be aggressive. Torero's done well in limited sample size. Irizarry was last year's reliever of the year. He hasn't been as bad as the ERA would indicate, thankfully. Maraville has sucked. All right, Raul. You're going down to AAA. Torero's coming up. Irizarry, again, is saved for the moment. Hendricks is on the 40-man. Ronaldo, I mean, hey, you're going down to AAA. If you clear waivers, cool. If you don't, whatever. Wayland Hendricks, welcome to the majors. Casey Adline. If you clear waivers, cool. If you don't, whatever. We're going to go with Adrian Casilla. Up to the majors. Luis Trujillo. If you don't clear waivers, well, it was nice knowing you. We're going to go with Chad Jones. Let's go with the man. Let's go with the man. Yusnel Espinoza. Added to the 40-man. Welcome aboard, Mr. Espinoza. Mr. Gill has been better than he looks. But yeah, we're going to be aggressive. We have to be. We have to be. We have to be. Honestly, we're going to go with a 4-man rotation and have the 3 young, long relievers. Irizarry needs to heat up a little bit. 4-4-2, 2-8-4 for Ozzy. Ozzy Esposito is going to be our new closer. But we got to be aggressive. Bunny, take it easy in tight spot. Hello. All right, we made some aggressive changes here. Try and save our season. AAA needs a pitcher. Let's give them Chad Jones. Casey Adline has cleared waivers. Trujillo, look at again, these guys are 84 overalls, and they're clearing waivers because the AI look at their stats, and they're just like, LOL, get the fuck out of here. So, in AAA, we can send Billy Floyd down to double. Appreciate you, tight spot. All right, let's see. We are on center field international. Right field west, right field central. We'll have enough time to scout out some pitchers on a basic level, and we'll take it from there. Yeah, just no more screwing around. Best overall doesn't mean shit. It's just whether or not a player can perform and get the job done. Right field east, right field international. We have enough starters. Let's focus on relievers. Let's go for closers west. Start focusing on relievers, yeah. Can we bounce back this season? We're still 3 games under 500. So let's see. We had closers west. Let's go closer central, closer east, and closer international. Is that how it should be, or is it not realistic? Oh, with the waivers? That's a tough question. You would think, I mean, with how little Trujillo's making, somebody IRL would claim this guy. An 86 overall, even if he was struggling for that contract, somebody should have claimed him. Somebody should have. I understand it, though. Like, it is nice that the AI factor in how someone's performing. But, yeah, at that rate, you would think someone would give him a chance. All right, it did put Rick Gutierrez back in at second base, but we're 100% putting Leon back. Thank you very much. Roberson's out at third. Okay, we're still looking good there. Rotation-wise, congrats to Waylon Hendricks. It's making me run 5, so we threw Espinoza out there, and he got roughed up a little bit. Just a little bit. Let's keep it going. Still 4 games under 500. It's not looking good. Let's go Relief West, Relief Central, and Relief East. We're still hanging around at the same record. It's the last week. Let's look at prospects, the starters. Ohio, Puerto Rico. That's 2, 3. I mean, I imagine it considers Puerto Rico international. 4, 5. All right, we do have to scout international. East looks to be the weakest based on what I think would be considered East. So starting pitcher West, Central, and East will be the only one that we do not scout out. And we'll just leave it at the base level. I'm willing to risk it for this draft. Try this strategy because we need a little bit of everything instead of one position in particular. And we're plummeting. We are plummeting. Unfortunately, the younger pitchers that we've called up, they are not getting it done. Hendricks has actually had some bad luck. Casilla and Espinoza have just outright not been ready. But yeah, Casilla and Espinoza just haven't been ready to go. Adline got better in AAA, but I'm not willing to give he and Garcia a chance. All 3 of the guys we sent down have actually done better, but I do not care. Chad Jones. I do have a full 40 man, apparently. That does complicate things a little bit. I'm willing to risk Jack Gaudio. We'll see if he gets claimed. Chad Jones, welcome aboard, sir. Espinoza will replace you. And then ideally, I mean, Thomas Gaucho was on the roster. Honestly, Michael Diaz isn't doing that well in AAA. We'll sacrifice him if we lose him to waivers, so be it. Eddie McCann. Another young pitcher of ours, doing very well in AA. Let's give him a shot. Let's give him a shot. We'll send Casilla all the way down. Like I said, I have no problem being ruthless at this stage. We do not have the time to screw around. Our bullpen, unfortunately, has been pretty disappointing, despite how good Irizarry is. Lineup-wise, there's nobody who's struggling immensely. Leon has not been that much worse than Gutierrez. But you could argue Gutierrez is still worth it based off of his defensive abilities. So let's get Ricky back in there. And we, despite the fact that Sato has done well, we need to get Burnett back in this lineup. Wasn't paying attention to the injuries. He's been available for a little bit, but at least Sato's not bad. Someone named Thomas Wayne just got traded. We do lose Michael Diaz on waivers. The Rangers claim him. Again, not a major loss. It is what it is. He was the only one that we lost. The 2044 draft. God help me. How have we ever had to see this day? We have the 24th pick in the 2044 draft because we still have not won a World Series. We haven't even been to one. Starting pitcher Armando Lopez on his way to Milwaukee. He was the #1 projected pick. Nice to see the #1 pick actually being someone who was projected #1. Happens every once in a while. How far does this game let you play? I don't know. The St. Louis Cardinals select Jeffrey Pools. Did they think it was Pujols? 41st projected. Goes 2nd overall to the Cardinals. Still better than the IRL Pirates. I don't know about that. And the Oakland, maybe Vegas Athletics at this stage, take starting pitcher Steve Medina, who was ranked 3rd. At this point, let's just go to our pick, because we haven't looked at any of these prospects yet, and we don't know, right? We just don't know. So, our scouts do like Thomas Fishman. Matt Emerson as a reliever. I know Fishman was listed as hurt. There's Edgar Garcia. Jimmy Clark at 20%. Enrique Mora. I'm going to look position by position here. So at catcher, a couple of risks. Nobody immediately where it's like, yep, take this guy. Same at first base. Apparently a super weak position this year. Second base, there's Danny Walls. This is likely to be our worst draft yet. There is Fred Weller, but he's not expected to go until well late into the drafts. There's also this guy here, Chris Gonzalez. There are a lot of catchers, including Charles Mischie, who's back from last year. There are a lot of catchers who could be worth taking later in the draft. First base, a lot of best guess. Second base, a lot of best guess. Third base will be the same way. Shortstop will also be the same. In left, there's Jose Perez that we could look to take later on. Harper McCoy, center field. Alex Borowitz. And then in right, Dwayne Keough. Ooh, Dwayne Keough might be our guy immediately. Unless I decide to risk it. When's our second pick? 36th? If we could get Keough with the 36th pick and then get somebody else, that would be good. Or we take Keough now and take whatever best relievers there later on. Let's see, John Gross as a closer. There are quite a few players that we have with a seemingly solid potential. Obviously, we do not know for sure based off of how we scouted things out. But at least it gives us the option of throw a dart at the board or go with these guys that we at least have some information on. Yeah, there's a lot of like 67 to 98 types. Frank Burdick as a starter. Just wanted to make sure Sorry, I didn't skip over those other guys too quickly. There is Henry Francisco. Okay. So, we could risk it for Fishman. I mean, Emerson should be available later on. There's Garcia. Or there was Dwayne Keogh. And I got to be honest, I want to go for Dwayne Keogh in a reliever. I want to make sure we get this guy. We do need outfielders. So we're going to go with a big risk pick, but it might just pay off if our scouts are right through limited sample size. We're going to go for Dwayne Keogh instead of risking it for one of the starters. And then at the second round pick, Emerson is still there, as is Edgar Garcia, who I was also considering taking. Yeah, a lot of these relievers are still there, which is good. Very, very good. A shitload. Ryan McGee. A shitload of these relievers. I mean, Emerson was the highest projected. Garcia, you got Clark. When's our next pick after this? 57. Let me sort this out really quickly. 73 to 89. Burdick's ahead of that. 75 to 86 for Salazar. Let's base this off of where people are projected to go instead of their OVR. Let's see what we can do. So Salazar is Escobar, a 71 for Matsumoto. Gross is, according to our scouts, about the 69th best prospects. Curtis at 19. 177 for Woodson, which is only the second lowest. Escobar, Curtis, 162 for Borowitz, so he should be available later on in this draft. That is the hope. McCoy is at 94. How much further do we have to drop you? There we go. Perez, 157. How much further down? There we go. Mishi, 190. Jesus, all of these catchers. So that is the question. Do we go for the guys on the list that our scouts are kind of giving us a general idea about? Or do we risk it for someone who is projected early? Or is there a combination of the two that we can find? And I honestly think Curtis is that combination. I mean, granted, there's only a chance of him really being a B, but those that we don't know much about could end up being C's, which, despite what your parents told you for your report card, is not ideal. Let's see, we got a 139 for Weller. Okay. So for this point in time, it's Curtis, Escobar, Salazar, maybe even Burdick. Gross might be available later on, as might be Matsui. 72 to 93 for Escobar. Burdick is older. If that overall is not that bad, and Gross is a 77 to 90. I think we got to go for Burdick, and we just got to hope that that starting overall isn't actually that bad. Yeah, I know he's 23 years old. Drafting a 23-year-old player can be quite risky, but let's be honest, we are in a position for high risk, high reward. Frank Burdick, welcome in. Burdick, welcome in. And that leaves us, fortunately, John Gross just went off the board. That leaves us Salazar, who is still there, or Hideki Matsumoto. We're at pick number 57. So presumably, I mean, our scouts really, really liked Salazar. Next pick is not until 98. It's Salazar or for Hideki Matsumoto, and given the fact that we already got a starter, let's go for Matsumoto in this draft. Hideki, welcome in. We'll move on. Pick number 98. So looking at those who are probably selected soon, it's Francisco, 73 to 89. Omar Rosaro's a 76 to a 95. Or we take the catcher Weller, who I got to be honest, I'm hoping is available a little bit later on. Outside of Mishi, I mean, Borowitz would be great. We actually do have quite a few players now where maybe it's worth taking like the Wellers of the world, the Perez. Honestly, I think we got to aim for those higher potential guys. Even if they take forever to develop, we are going to go for the catcher Fred Weller. Welcome in, Fred. 4th round. Wow, Francisco's still there. In fairness, he's not projected to be drafted. There's Gonzalez, there's Perez, Borowitz. We're going to go for Jose Perez, the left fielder. Francisco is probably a steal, though. We got 3 picks left. Yeah, Fred, welcome in. Francisco, Perez, Borowitz, and Mishi are the super interesting ones. 1, 2. We do have only 3 picks left. I'm going to go for Perez. I just don't know what to do about Francisco because I do feel like he's going to be good. It's just, do I want to end up with another starter? Jose Perez, welcome in. Francisco's finally gone, so I don't have to worry about that mistake anymore to have not drafted him. We're going to go for Alex Borowitz with this pick to continue to try to shore up our outfield depth. And round 6, everyone's off the board. So we will be going... Well, based off of who our scouts like... Either Mario Moya, Michael Driver. It's either starting pitcher, 18-year-old Mario Moya, or it is the first baseman Michael Driver. The potential range is in Driver's favor. The overall range is in Moya's favor. And that's why I was tempted to draft another starter, is to potentially move him over to reliever, yes. We're going to go for Moya. Given how our first base situation has just worked out, we'll take our 3rd pitcher of the draft in Mario Moya. Am I confident in this draft? Absolutely not. But it was worth... Oh my God, how do we have somebody... George Freitas is leading the majors in home runs. I don't know if I still have that clip. I don't think I do. I don't think I do.
Who do you think you are? I am!
I do have that one, though. Okay. I'm not upset about it. I'm just saying. A little bit surprised. That's all. In terms of all-star voting, wasn't Antoine Rush one of our guys? I could have sworn he was one of our guys. Maybe not. Maybe we just saw him and didn't take him. No starting pitchers this year. No pitchers at all. Freitas is our only all-star. Nope, Ivan Pena also made it. And again, how cool is it that Greg Marlin went back to Miami after all that time? 2 all-stars, and they're both outfielders, Freitas and Ivan Pena. How did the draft go? How did the draft go? We took an entirely different approach this year. Definitely a risk. But, hey, we're in a position to start risking it with these drafts a little bit. All right, let's see. Weller, Signs, Borowitz, Signs, Perez. Yeah, I had a feeling we weren't going to get 3 in a row. Let's get Moya in there, and then from there, it's actually looking pretty good. Jose Perez, and then Burdick. So our last pick, Moya, is going to be the one that's likely the most difficult to sign. Perez declines again. Burdick signs. And what about Hideki Matsumoto? He declines as well. Okay. Let's keep fighting. 3 players left to sign. We are continually falling back of a potential playoff spot, though. And unfortunately, these 3 are still declining contracts. We're going to have to make another set of decisions with the roster, I'm sure. Matsumoto is still being a pain in the ass, so is Jose Perez. This would not be the time for people to not actually sign with us. Matsumoto signs. Perez finally signs, just leaves Mario Moya. 10 games under 500 right now. As Moya signs. So again, we get everybody. Wild card wise, we're 7 games back of the wild card already. I think that's it for the season. 7 games heading into August. I don't think we're overcoming that. I don't think we're overcoming that. Starting catcher is going to be Sato. He's been better than Burnett this season. So we're going to give him time. Lopez is definitely the starter at first base. He has been incredible. Second base, Gutierrez might be doing better than Leon, but we need to get more information on Michael Leon to know if he's the guy, because if not, Lewis McCall might be next season. Of course, we had to send Joe Dale down to AAA. Roberson hasn't been the guy at third base, so it is going to be Fodor. McCann, Hinojosa hasn't been amazing. Honestly, we might need McCann at shortstop and give somebody else a chance at DH. Tim Coe's hitting 242. That's not bad. Freitas has obviously been amazing, as has Pena. So lineup-wise, Sato is back in. It's worth giving DJ Liss some time at DH, I would say, over Hinojosa. And then Leon's going to play. I know Gutierrez is playing well, but we got to turn it over to the youth as best we can. It is astonishing how drastically different this team is already just compared to last year. There have been quite a few changes. Honestly, now let's reward those who have performed the best at the plate. Let's do that from there. 282. Unless we want to base it off of speed at the top, which would be Coe and Freitas. So let's have Freitas and Coe lead off, no matter what. Okay. So, Freitas, Coe, Lopez, and Sato. Wasn't expecting that. Pena and Fodor, Liss, McCann, Leon. will be the lineup moving forward as we try to see if somehow, some way this might happen. Jason Gill might be done, guys. He's got 1 year left at $15 million. The FIP saves him. Wayland Hendricks. FIP saves him a little bit, but it's not pretty. Eddie McCann. FIP saves him. And Chad Jones is not ready for prime time. Chad Jones is not ready. Irizarry has been terrible this year. I don't know what's going on. The curse of reliever of the year, but Jose Irizarry has been terrible, and I can't send him down. I'd lose him. Trujillo has been insane at the major league level. We will call him back up to send Chad Jones down. So congrats to Trujillo, but I think Eddie McCann's going to... No, fuck it. Let's just give it to Trujillo. Give him a spot back again. All right, let's find out how good those draft picks were, shall we? Let's find out. Let us find out. How good are they? Oh, we had one more day. Oh, hey. Hi. Here we are now. There we go. All right. It was a risky draft. Did it pay off? Dwayne Keogh's okay. I mean, 51 overall at 21 years old is a bit rough. It's not a disaster of a pick, but it's not great. Frank Burdick, again, not a disaster of a pick, but not great given his advanced age. Hideki Matsumoto is a slam dunk. That's a great pick for us. Fred Weller, not quite a slam dunk, but not bad. Overall is a bit low at his age. Jose Perez, again, overall is a bit low at his age. Borowitz, same thing. And then Mario Moya is actually pretty damn good. So honestly, I mean, you look at the potentials from the team, and that's really, really not that bad. Given how weird of a draft that was for us and the circumstances of it, that really wasn't that bad. So I'm pretty good with that. Let's find out. Again, we're only going to look for A potentials. I don't know if there were any generational talents in this draft. John Gross, I would have loved to have ended up with him, and it would have been good. But we did get Matsumoto, so it's okay. Not too many A potentials kicking around in this draft either. Steven Smart went to the Blue Jays. Very, very good pick. Dan Gunn. What a shame it is that he doesn't have a cannon of an arm, huh? Absolute shame. Again, not too many A potential prospects. Maybe people finally stopped playing baseball as kids. Harry Hardy, great name. Maybe there's just a shortage of availability. Howard George, that's a great pick for Oakland. That's a steal of a pick. Henry Francisco was okay. Fun fact, Chris, he said look for him, and there he was. He was okay. Not significantly better or significantly worse than who we ended up with. We didn't end up with Charles Michie, as expected, 47 overall at 22 years old, so you could argue if that's a huge loss. Honestly, Moya, who we got with that pick instead, might be even better. So a handful, good pick there in Damon Ortiz, a handful of 90 overalls. Another draft without generational talent, however. And honestly, we did decently for ourselves. Just a lot of those guys are super, super low overalls. Man, we're probably not making the playoffs.